RTV News, March 24, 2024, to lessen financial strain, Nepal requests that China turn a debt-trapping loan into a grant for the Pokhara Airport. China provided weapons, training, and equipment to the communist insurgency in Nepal to remove the current government and impose a puppet one. The Pokhara International Airport loan was converted from a loan to a grant on Tuesday, according to a statement made by Nepal's Prime Minister, PM Dahal. The announcement came after the airport failed to generate revenue and accrued more debt. The Prime Minister of Nepal stated that negotiations are in progress to turn the loan into a grant following opposition legislator Shanda Chowdhury's inquiries concerning the growing deficit and mounting debt. A committee has been established to manage the flights to and from Pokhara International Airport to examine collaboration between the public and commercial sectors. The committee's findings would serve as the basis for making arrangements for the airport's functioning. Negotiations are underway to turn the loan obtained for the development of Pokhara International Airport into a grant. According to Prime Minister Dahal, the necessary financial management would be coordinated. Since opening on January 1, 2023, the Pokhara International Airport has not seen many foreign flights, except the occasional chartered Chinese airplane. A loan deal was concluded between China and Nepal on March 21, 2016, specifying a total loan value of 1.37 billion Chinese yuan, of which 355.9 million were interest-free loans. The loan sum must be repaid by the year 2036 to the Himalayan nation's Aviation Regulatory Authority, the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal, CAAN. Nepalese Prime Minister Dahal made this announcement upon his return to Kathmandu from his trip to China last year, before the announcement that Chinese flights would arrive in Pokhara to help offset the loss. During my recent visit to China, September 22, 2023, a theoretical agreement was reached about commencing connecting flights from various cities of China to Pokhara, and I believe that international flights would land at Pokhara International Airport and help recover the loss, the Prime Minister said on Tuesday, even though no such flights have started. The Chinese ambassador to Nepal tweeted a few days before the airport's opening last year that the airport was a component of the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a claim the Nepali government refuted. However, the Pokhara Airport quickly demonstrated the dangers of adopting China's infrastructure at any cost development strategy, which disproportionately benefited Chinese businesses at the expense of the borrowing country following the handover. China Camk Engineering, a state-owned company in Sinamax construction business, was a crucial player in the Pokhara Airport project. It imported machinery and building supplies from China, and the airport was packed with industrial and security equipment manufactured in China. China maintained that the project was high quality, but the New York Times research uncovered a troubling story. Upon reviewing hundreds of documents and speaking with several project participants, it became clear that China Camk Engineering had a history of dictating terms to safeguard its interests and maximize profits. At the same time, it methodically undermined Nepali oversight. Consequently, Nepal was left heavily indebted to Chinese creditors without the anticipated increase in traveler traffic to cover the loan repayments. Even before the official bidding process began in 2011, the Himalayan Finance Ministry signed an understanding agreement endorsing Camk's proposal. Under the terms of the Chinese credit deal, bids for the project were restricted to Chinese companies. When Camk first offered $305 million, it was almost twice as much as Nepal had estimated the airport cost. Politicians in Nepal expressed disapproval of this, claiming that the price was exaggerated and the process was skewed. After the uproar, Camk dropped their offer to $216 million, saving about 30% on the price. A formal 20-year agreement was reached in 2016 between China and Nepal for the project, with a loan devoid of interest covering 25% of the total funding. The remaining amount was to be borrowed by Nepal at a 2% interest rate from China's Export-Import Bank. Significant problems emerged as the building progressed. The Chinese contractor was under the supervision of the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal. Nevertheless, the project was hindered by a shortage of competent staff and insufficient funding for consultants. The budget for employing consultants to guarantee Camk complies with international construction standards was initially allocated $2.8 million. However, it was ultimately whittled down to $10,000 to reallocate finances. Due to a lack of control, Camk could start construction before consultants were hired and complete it below international standards. The future stability of the runway is at risk since essential elements, like soil density testing for the runway's foundation, were left out. Other mistakes included the airport's drainage system design, which ignored sloping topography and historical rainfall data, raising the risk of flooding. According to the New York Times, CAAN's contract with Nepal was broken due to insufficient documentation about the identity of vendors and the quality of building materials made in China. Although CAAN's work was supposed to be supervised by consultants, the Chinese company could avoid them and deal directly with Nepali officials who lacked building knowledge. Attempts to locate more data or supporting documents were frequently ineffective. China Pokhara International Engineering, a consulting firm, was hired by China's Export-Import Bank to guarantee the project's quality, safety, and timeliness and verify Nepal's satisfaction with CAAN's performance. However, when CAAN bought IPPR in 2019 and converted it from a sister business to a direct subsidiary, things became more unclear. The fees for IPPR's loan from the Chinese bank come from Nepal. Chinese project engineers stated that they were told to concentrate on building an airport rather than rigorously examining CAAN's work. Moreover, claims emerged regarding the falsification of documents about the credentials of IPPR employees in Pokhara. In certain instances, even the credentials of employees were falsified. Such actions demonstrated a troubling disdain for accountability and transparency. Nepal's hopes for the airport were in peril as Pokhara Airport struggled to draw in foreign flights, especially from Indian Airlines. The biggest airline in Nepal, Buddha Air, had applied for permission to fly to India but was awaiting a response from the Indian authorities. Although no international flights have started yet, a feasibility assessment commissioned by CAAN predicted passenger counts that would allow the airport to repay its financing from earnings. The airport's financial difficulties have reportedly prompted Nepali officials to ask China to change the loan into a grant. This was a topic of discussion during Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal's visit to Beijing in late September. During the visit, China and Nepal released a joint statement recognizing the completion and functioning of the Pokhara Airport, but it did not indicate any intention to discharge the loan. Concerns have been expressed concerning the caliber of work, the manipulation of monitoring, and the debt load on Nepal resulting from the construction of the Pokhara Airport, which was mainly funded and carried out by Chinese corporations. It is also difficult for the airport to draw in foreign aircraft because of its affiliation with China's Belt and Road Initiative, which has heightened diplomatic tensions with India. The Pokhara Airport is a prime illustration of the dangers of adopting China's infrastructure development model. It raises transparency and financial viability issues while escalating regional geopolitical tensions.